A Look at Seniors is underwritten by the generous support of Berkshire Bank. For over 165 years, Berkshire Bank has delivered excellent service and performance. Berkshire Bank, America's most exciting bank. With additional support from Judson Meadows, caring for you, and respite stays available too. And The Mortgage Place, offering low rates, a wide variety of programs, expert advice, and exceptional service.
Don't tell us who we are. We're not about ordinary, we're about extraordinary. We're not just about numbers and names. We're about individuals and knowing that no two customers are alike. We're not too small to help. We're not too big to know you. We're about big bank resources with small bank attention. Hey, we believe those important moments in your life should be exciting. Don't you? Life is exciting. Let us help. Berkshire Bank, America's most exciting bank.
I'm Tim Bartos, and I'm here at Judson Meadows, and I'm talking with Ruth about the importance of pet visits.
Pet visits are wonderful. It's one of the things that brings our residents the most joy. There's nothing like the unconditional love of a pet jumping up in someone's lap and bringing a smile to their face. It's fantastic.
And we love our pet visits and welcome them with open arms. Judson Meadows, an assisted living community, the art of aging well.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, as many of you know, we have this wonderful ongoing series here once a week called A Look at Seniors. And each week, Lois Celeste, who's the executive director of the Saratoga Senior Center, and I bring a guest in to just talk about all the different aspects of senior care. And I got news for you, Lois. This has been a wonderful series.
It's been great.
I'm learning so much. And so, for those of you that are entering your senior years, and for those of you that are children of parents or family members who are moving into senior years, there's so much information here. And joining us today is somebody very special, Cindi Lisuzzo, who is the Director of Care Management for Saratoga Hospital. Wow, big job. Welcome, Cindi.
Hi, thank you.
Very nice to have you here. As Lois and I have been saying every week, there's two words that are just constantly are the centerpiece of what we're talking about, and that's dignity and independence. Dignity sort of speaks to itself. It's that whole sense of self as you get older. And independence doesn't necessarily mean living on your own. It's independent living for your situation. And so much of that has to do with the community, and in this case, Saratoga Hospital, being involved on a continuous basis in providing education, information, support, emotional support for the people that are aging in our community. So with that said, you've been in this position for 15 years. You told me that prior to this, you were a registered nurse. Mm-hmm. Boy, you're in love with this.
I love it.
Yeah, why?
I love our community.
Yes, why?
Well, I love the hospital. I love who we are in Saratoga. I think we have a wonderful mission and vision that really talks about caring about our patients, and it's something that we can pull through with everything that we do. Mm-hmm. Care coordination, discharge planning, and I think we're really there for our patients. So that's important to me, and I've really been able to do that here and grow with that in Saratoga.
Again, having been a registered nurse, that's really on the front line. That's one-on-one. That relationship that you develop with a patient, I can't even imagine the degree with which you get involved with someone's personal health and story and history and everything else if you're their nurse. So you've taken those skills, taken it to the level of being the director of care management. Mm-hmm. How has it changed over the years?
Well, I think we've really seen, we see many people living longer. We see a lot of challenges to health care, chronic illness, a lot with, just the growth. I think we're seeing many patients now coming in having elective surgeries, living longer, having a great quality of life. And I think that's been a lot of the challenges. And challenges of also to have the coverage for all of that and working with payers and community resources. I think what I've seen change so much is that not only do we have to be Saratoga Hospital, but we really have to navigate and connect to our community with all of our community resources to make and help patients be successful and safe.
Now, the two of you partner up a lot and talk about frontline. You see this every single day. The people that participate in all of the activities and services at the senior center, they become your family. I know you've said this to me many times. You get to know them. And on any given day, you know, you're going to have some connection to something that the hospital is providing. You know,
Sure.
it could be emergency. You've told me you call 911,
Sure.
right?
So it usually plays out a couple of ways. One, something unfortunately happens at the center. You know, somebody's having a hard time breathing, or they fall, or, you know, any number of things can happen. Confusion. Generally don't want us to call 911.
Yeah, sure.
But none of us are doctors. It's not our specialty. So more often than that, especially if it's serious or we can't reach a family member, we'll call 911, go over to the hospital. Oftentimes I'll go over to the emergency room with them.
Wow.
The other side to what we see is, like Cindi said, with the elective surgeries. So a lot of replacements are going on now. And some folks have resources for that, family support, partners. Others don't.
Yes, right.
And so we will try to work again with the hospital. We have a partnership with the hospital. They support the senior center. We'll work together in a number of different ways, but to support our seniors in the community, to make sure we get them connected to the resources they need and the help they need.
Wow, and that's ongoing every single day and back and forth. You know, we were talking about this before we went on air. Used to be, especially if you're my age, going to the hospital was a one-way relationship. You got sick, you went to the hospital, you left the hospital, and then you're kind of on your own. That's so different now, isn't it, Cindi?
Absolutely, and we want to alleviate patients' anxiety when they come in. So we have care managers in the emergency department and throughout their stay at the hospital. And one of our roles is really working on care coordination and care planning for them with the doctors and nurses and other disciplines. But a big part of our job is discharge planning. And so we're starting that on day one and really talking with the patient and their caregiver or their family to say, what's your baseline? How have you been doing at home? And we're going through all these safety questions. How are you doing with eating? How are you doing with mobility? Do you need Lifeline? And what to expect after you have an elective surgery. We have a program now that incorporates the coach early on, the week before, to alleviate that anxiety for surgery. And likewise for emergency department patients, working through and making sure they've got their continuum of needs met. And that's working with people like Lois and many community resources.
Right, yeah, you had mentioned a phrase to me, preferred partner.
Yeah.
What's that relationship like?
We have a few resources in the community. The hospital is one that we've set up a preferred partner relationship. So, you know, it's just a closer relationship. We get to know each other. We get to know people within each department. If there's a referral that needs to go out, you know, I could pick up the phone and call Cindi. I could pick up the phone and call Kathy at the community health center. I can call people in the hospital and say, we have this situation, what do we do with it?
Right.
And so we're building a preferred partner relationship with them so that it's an exchange of resources back and forth.
And you know, and that affects people in so many ways. It's almost like this umbrella, you know, in the community, which says you're not going to fall through the cracks.
Right.
You know, the population is getting older. Population really values independence. You know, if you look back in history, the 60s was that first generation of independent thinking in a lot of ways, and that's carried through. I can tell you from my friends, they're very stubborn and, you know, they're very independent. They have a lot of self-dignity, sense of themselves. So, you know, the fact that the community reaches out to them. You know, some people are fortunate that they've got incomes, but some people don't. Right? And the hospital doesn't distinguish between that, right?
We don't. Everyone is taken on an equal basis, and we want to make sure we're there for them. And I think sometimes seniors or patients are afraid to take some of these resources, and they need to let us help them when they go home, whether it's home care, or if it's care transitions, or working with Lois's group, making sure that we can get them to the doctor's appointment, that they've had a call from the nurse to make sure they're doing well in the home. How are they getting their medications? That's so much more complicated now. How are they paying for it? We have to think of all that. How are they getting to dialysis? How are they getting to that primary care doctor? All those things, and looking at chronic illness and making sure that they have those teach-back techniques and education that they need. There's so much. It's just, I think that's probably the biggest challenge, is to be there all the time and really be able to do that. And I think we do a wonderful job.
You know what? I can tell you firsthand that you do a wonderful job. I had a little bout with dehydration this past summer and wound up in Saratoga Hospital, and they followed through with me like crazy. It was really something. It's so valuable to the community to have the hospital have that philosophy of, wait, we're an umbrella, you know, come in out of the rain. We're okay. We're gonna take care of you. And the community is really lucky to have the senior center too. So
it's a beautiful safety net that
yes,
we're forming
absolutely.
with so many partners out there. It really is. We know our patients. We know our community.
Good.
And as the senior population builds, we need to work together.
That's right. Absolutely. So at any rate, be proactive on this if you're a senior. Be proactive on this if you're the child of a senior. Contact the hospital. Find out what's going on in care management. Find out from the senior center what, outreach programs they have there. It's so helpful, and you have to start, because if you start with those relationships now, you'll maintain your dignity and you will maintain your independence. How key is that, right?
That's right.
We're
Well,
here
Cindi,
for you.
wonderful to have you in here. Thanks.
It was my pleasure.
We'll see you
Really
again.
enjoyed
Lois, we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. To see this interview again, you can head to our website, looktvonline.com.